Tyler,
Yes.
you rent right now, right?
I do rent right now, yes.
Well, that's good because I will say it is not a good time to try to buy a house.
No.
The market is insane. If you're selling, it's an awesome time.
Oh, yes.
But if you're trying to buy right now, let's just say be prepared because houses are getting snapped up left and right. And to talk a little bit more about the crazy market right now, Jim Manna with us. He is a broker and owner, Level Plus Realty. Thank you so much, Jim, for being with us.
Hi there. How are you today?
So what is driving this housing market? I mean, we're in the middle of a pandemic.
Thank you. It's a great question. But it's a couple things. One, there's a shortage of listings. Second, we've got phenomenal interest rates. So those are the two things that are driving this crazy market. We haven't seen this since 2006, right before the crash.
Which unfortunately is when I bought our house. When we bought our house.
Wow. Yeah. So
top of the market.
You bought at the height, and that's what people are doing now. But this time around, it's gotten extremely ridiculous. It's reminding me of the markets in California and Florida where people just go in and with crazy offers. We're seeing there's a joke going around with an addendum saying, we'll wash your car for a year, we'll clean your house, we'll name our first kid after you. For God's sake, we're $50,000 over asking price and homeless. Please help us.
Oh my gosh.
That's the joke that's going around in our industry, but it's really, really bad. I have 90 agents that work here at Level Plus Realty in West Bloomfield, and everybody's complaining about the same thing. If you've got listings right now, you're the king of the hill, and if you're representing buyers, good luck. I called one agent and said, I have an offer, $30,000 above asking price. Can we make this happen? And he said, no, I think we can do better.
What?
So, yeah, there's a lot of greed out there.
Wow.
So, and I think some of that is going to come back and bite some of these sellers because they're really taking advantage of the situation. And greed is a horrible thing, but it's also out there.
But on the back side of this, we know the market at some point is going to crash.
Big time.
You're not going to sustain this level of.
Totally. I totally agree with you. I mean, and people ask me, when do you think that's going to happen? Well, we've been going up now for the last 12 years since the last crash, and your average cycle lasts about 7 years in our economy, in our national economy. So we've been due for the last 5 years, but the low interest rates have really been driving this market. We've got lower prices as compared to the rest of the country. They were lower prices, not anymore. But it's fortunate and unfortunate. Fortunate if you're on the selling side, unfortunate if you're on the buying side. And then, so a lot of people who are considering selling are in the same predicament. They're saying, okay, I'm going to get top dollar for my house, but then am I going to be able to find a house? And if I do find a house, am I going to be able to sell it?
That is so true. That's actually because I've been on my husband about us doing just that, and he's like, no. The good thing is, we bought at the top of the market, then it crashed. So a lot of people moved into the neighborhood at half the price, but now it's back at the top market. In fact, 15 years in, I know that my neighbor just listed his for about $40,000 more than what they paid for it.
Wow.
And they lived in it for 15 years. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. That is. Absolutely.
So what advice do you have for people?
So here's the advice that I have, and I hate to as a realtor, you think this is going against my selling principles, which is if you don't have to buy, wait. If you don't have to sell, wait. You can wait this market out. However, you've got to do a balancing act. So for example, I've got a mortgage right now at 2.5%. So if you've got to compare and say, okay, this market's going to slow down. I think that the rate at which it would slow down would be if interest rates got to about 4.5. So if interest rates are at 4.5 and this market slows down, not slows down to the point of 2008, 2009, I don't think you'll ever see that again. And the reason for that is in 2008, 2009, that crash was precipitated by a lot of fraud. There was a lot of fraud in the industry between mortgage companies, between buyers and builders, between sellers, between title companies. All that's gone now. The federal government has put so many parameters in place to prevent that from ever happening again. Mortgage people have to be licensed now. They're not allowed to speak to appraisers. A lot of good safeguards have been put in to protect our economy from that happening again in the residential market. However, this craziness of the price wars right now is not going to stay like this. And once interest rates start creeping up a bit, it's going to level out. And when I say level out, it's going to become more of a buyer and seller market where you can get a good deal out there and you find other deals. So another thing that I would recommend if a buyer came up to me and said, what do we do? Is the houses that need work, the houses that are not in perfect move-in condition, those aren't going to have the crazy multiple offers like others are going to have. So that's going to give you an edge to possibly consider something that's going to need a little bit of work, a fixer-upper, that type of thing. Another thing that's hurting us in terms of driving up values are the people that are in the cannabis industry, the medical marijuana or the marijuana industry that are buying homes, living there, and growing weed in the homes. So that's creating a seller's market for that also. So, but they have to live there. If they don't live there, then it's illegal. So
what do they do? Like basically just find people to live in the house for them?
Sorry?
So what are they doing? Just finding people to live in the house for them? Or does it have to be that homeowner?
Yeah, either renting it to them or they're living there and growing themselves. So that's another thing that's creating demand on our market, thanks to the legalization of the cannabis industry in Michigan.
See, that's fascinating because I know that industry is growing, but that's the first time that I've heard that angle that could be playing into the real estate market. We do know that right now it is a growing industry, and some people are having trouble finding employees at some of these other industries, like working at the gas stations or your local bars, because so many people are going to work in the cannabis industry. Yeah. So it's really kind of creating this vacuum of needed employees throughout other industries as well.
Yeah, there's a joke going around that they can hire people. They're called trimmers, where they come in once a plant gets to a certain stage where they have to trim the plant. I've never done it, so I don't know, but they have to trim the plant, and they're getting paid $20 an hour to do that. So like, how do you compete with that?
Yeah, bud tenders, I think is what they call them.
Right.
So with that, Jim Manna with us here on the MegaCast. He's a broker and owner for Level Plus Realty, also West Bloomfield Township trustee. I have to ask you about, there is that new property that's going up here in West Bloomfield called the Reserve. I'm like, $500 and something thousand for one of these houses. Is that in part due because it is a brand new entity? And they're beautiful. They are beautiful. But I'm like, do we have that kind of money in West Bloomfield? What am I doing wrong in my life, Jim?
We do. Keep in mind that a lot of, I'm having a coughing spat here.
Oh, that's okay. That happens to me often, especially right now with the allergies. So I had mine like Monday.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things, unfortunately, that's happening is because, and partly due to our borders being closed between us and Canada, lumber prices, and that's only one of the reasons, but lumber prices are at a extreme high right now. I'm building right now, so I'm caught in the middle of it, unfortunately. And so the cost of construction is way, way up. So these builders are working on lower margins, and the demand is there. So it's all based on, the market and the demand. And the demand is there, so they can get those crazy type of prices.
Right.
Keep in mind, the people that are maybe moving there have a home that they're selling. So they're getting a lot of equity out of their home, and they can afford that. And new construction tends to be a lot more expensive than a used home. So that's also a part of that.
Yeah, that is one thing, because I know so many people that work in the trades. And one thing throughout this pandemic, that industry is booming. You cannot get enough workers in that skilled labor industry right now, because really the supply is down because there aren't enough new houses being built right now.
That's right. That's part of it. And unfortunately, again, that goes back to the cost of construction right now is at an all-time high. and so that's hurting it quite a bit. So that's part of the reason. So you may be able to find raw land, you may be able to develop it, but the cost of construction has just gone nuts right now. It really has.
This is a crazy world that we live in, Jim.
Yes.
So how long do you anticipate this bubble to last?
I estimate that I think it's going to continue. I hope it doesn't continue at this rate right now, because you're going to see, I honestly feel you're going to see a lot of realtors getting out of the business because it's just, they can't compete. You know, we've got 20 offers going in on a single home over and over and over again. It's just, it'll burn you out. And you feel sorry for your clients who can't get a home. I've got a couple of veterans that I'm representing right now in the 500 to 700,000 price range, and we keep losing out. And we're going over asking price. We're using all kinds of different gimmicks to try to win out, but just too many buyers, not enough sellers out there. So I hope it's not going to continue for the rest of the year. But I believe that in the short term, it is going to continue like this, and then within the next 6 months, I think it'll level out. And then I truly believe, with what I'm seeing right now with the national debt and with what's going on with interest rates, I believe that they're going to creep up, and the market will slow at some point. And I do believe that's going to happen by next year.
So Jim, is this something that we're just seeing here in the state of Michigan, or is this nationwide?
It's absolutely nationwide. It's absolutely shocking. I talked to, a lot of the clients that we have are relocating from other states. So we see them we see them going through the same thing that we are here, where multiple offers, they're getting top dollar, and it truly is across the country. And you've got to give credit to the low interest rates. Money is so cheap right now that it's nuts. I would have never dreamed in a million years that I'd be paying 2.5% on the mortgage.
Right, and for the people that are out there, now is take a look at it, because if you could refinance right now, there are factors that you need to look in for your personal situation, but it is a good time to refinance.
It really is. It really is. I've got family members that are in the mortgage industry, and they're going gangbusters. They're, highest income ever for a lot of these mortgage professionals, thanks to the refinance craze.
Wow. Jim Manna with us here on the MegaCast. He's a broker and an owner for Level Plus Realty. And Jim, I don't know if you've been kind of following this saga going on in Detroit with Nicole Curtis from HGTV and the Detroit Land Bank Authority. I'm just kind of throwing this question out. But one of the things, because I'm like a Detroit Land Bank Authority expert, I did so many stories on them throughout the year, so I love that. She's a firecracker. But one of the issues and the topics that's kind of come out of this is about trying to get title insurance and the importance of title insurance. What exactly is that, and do you recommend it?
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been doing this for 33 years, and I don't think I've ever done a real estate deal without title insurance. And right in the body of the purchase agreement, it's going to state that the seller is required to provide title insurance to the purchaser. And it's crucial. You can't do a deal without title insurance. And it's one of the best investments you can make. Now, on the seller side, it's usually the seller paying for a title policy for the buyer's sake. And then the buyer has to pay for a title policy to protect the mortgage company. So there's actually two policies being sold during a normal transaction, unless it's a cash deal or a land contract, for example. But yeah, it's crucial. You can't do a deal without title insurance. The title insurance is basically the title company is insuring the closing. They're the ones that are going to conduct the closing. They're like a third party that's protecting everybody involved. They're going to do a title search that goes back 40 years to make sure that there's no liens or tax issues or recorded interests that they need to remove. They also make sure that the seller is who they say they are. That, a seller can't bring somebody, their girlfriend or something, to come and close a deal, or boyfriend or whatever, to close a deal instead of the spouse, and all that stuff, all the nuances that go in with title. So yes, it's absolutely important. And I would never close a deal without title insurance.
That is, so when we talk about quick claim deeds,
Yes.
explain the difference of that and land contracts, because it can get a little fuzzy. And as people are trying to, get a home, especially if you're looking for something right now, they may be falling for some of these fraud scams that are out there.
True, very true. So the most important deed that you can ever get in a transaction is a warranty deed. It's called a warranty deed, and that encompasses all and protects you against all and any liens or issues that may come up later. Whereas a quitclaim deed is only quitclaiming the interest of that person who owns it now to the next person. So you don't want to do a quitclaim deed unless it's between, family members and you've done for tax reasons, for whatever reasons you have. A quitclaim deed is the least protective to get if you're on the buyer side. So I don't ever recommend that you get a quitclaim deed. I always recommend that you do a warranty deed to protect your interests. And again, don't pretend to know the law. Have the title company do it. They usually have lawyers on hand that put all that together. So I always recommend talking to an attorney or lawyer that can give you the best advice, or you can call a title company and they can also give you the best advice regarding how best to do it. But always warranty deed over quitclaim deed.
See, that's why we talk to people such as yourself. And if anyone is in the market for buying a home, you need experts like this, because as someone who has done more than my fair share of trying to dig through the property records when it comes to the city of Detroit, it is a nightmare. And I will say you need to have very well sourced individuals within the some of these agencies in Detroit so they can try to help you navigate
I agree.
the craziness in Detroit.
Keep in mind, though, with the land bank, there are times when you can get phenomenal deals.
Yes.
But you gotta do your homework. It's not easy. You're competing with several other people that are looking. Anything that's too good to be true is just that. So you got to do your homework. You got to do your due diligence, and hopefully you're going to end up with a good deal. But most of those are good deals. Just depends on how many people are trying to buy it and how much competition you have, that type of thing. So.
And one of the benefits with the land bank is you get a clean title. But on the backside, so, for those that may have not been following along, because, Nicole Curtis is from Oakland County, Lake Orion,
Yes.
and she has this very popular show on HGTV. She buys a house in Detroit, and then a few years later, the land bank comes to her and says, wait, we own it. She's like, no, you don't. I bought it. I have it. And so now they're in this huge dispute. It's getting national attention, but it really does highlight some of the issues that are going on with the property records within the city of Detroit. And we know this happens other places as well, although we don't hear it quite often here in Oakland County.
True. Yeah, we don't. Oakland County is one of the richest counties in the country, really. So you're not going to find a lot of property that's going to be owned by the county.
Right. Or just some of these crazy fraud cases as well.
Sure. Fraud's at an all-time high, and I gotta say that it's extremely sad. But it's not coming from within our own country. It's coming from outside of our country, and you just got to be diligent. You got to have protection on your PC, on your computers, and you got to be able to read through the junk. We get so much junk email on a daily basis of saying, I've won millions of dollars on a daily basis, just so you know. I win millions of dollars every single day. All I got to do is answer their questionnaire and give them all my account information. They'll send me the money. Right.
Exactly. Jim, Manna, great to have you with us. Anything maybe I didn't ask that you want to add before we say goodbye?
No, I appreciate the opportunity. I love Civic Center TV, and I love all the things you guys do. And sometimes I'll be channel surfing, and I love to watch just to see the different topics that you guys cover, and sometimes it's fun.
Well, thank you so much. We do get a very wide range of individuals here on the show, and I'm like, every day I learn something new. So, who could say that when they go to work every day?
That's right.
Jim, it's great having you with us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for the opportunity.